What's up, you guys? Today, I got an awesome guest. You guys are going to be blown away. You guys know I'm always talking about mindset and the way for you to be able to increase your income and increase your network, and your net worth is all about mindset and improving yourself as an individual. And today's guest is a perfect example of that, where when you focus on your own growth and you grow as a person, you can actually take it to the next level in all the different areas of your life. My guest today specifically is really good. He's going to give us some crazy good gems about passive income and how you can create multiple streams of income in real estate. So don't go anywhere. We're going to dive right in.
So the big question is this: how can we achieve financial freedom, quit the 9-to-5, and live a mighty life? That is the question, and this show will give you the answer. You are listening to The Mighty Mike Show with your host, Mighty Mike Reed.
What's up, you guys? Super excited to have Joey Schneider on. Been crushing it. What's up, Joey?
Hey, how are you, Big Mike?
Hey, thanks, man. Mighty Mike. I am big, but it's mighty.
I like big too, so it's all good.
Good stuff, man. Well, thanks for coming on. Why don't you take just a quick second and tell us a little bit about you and your personal life?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So number one, thank you for having me on your show. I've seen it often, and really good gems all the time on your show. So thanks for having me on. I just want to say that first and foremost. A little bit about myself. I mean, I'm trying to give a short story here, right? I spent 17 years in the corporate world, and always did real estate kind of as a side hustle, and finally left that corporate world a little over a year ago and went full time into passive and active real estate investing. And I love sharing my story because I think it can help motivate people to kind of pull that trigger. And if they're passionate about investing into real estate, it's something that's achievable with the right mindset and the right habits in place. And so, I did a big transition and went from that corporate world over to real estate investing, and just super excited about what's happened over the last year and the momentum that has built over that time, and excited for the future without a doubt.
Well, you're crushing it. And I always love to do this show because I feel like I come on, we were talking about a little bit before the show, is like, I come on and I started doing a show like this because I can leverage the knowledge of my guests, and I don't have to be the expert. But what's crazy is something we were talking about is like over time, you surround yourself with these people, right? Just you listening, you guys that are watching, it's like, you're able to kind of upload the knowledge, even if it's just one little nugget, one of the masterminds I'm in, they call them nuggies, and it's, it's gotten kind of a narcissistic term to it now because imagine stopping wait, I got a nuggie, you got to let other people tell you that it's a golden nugget. You can't say it yourself that it's a golden nuggie, but
I think I'm going to use that. I like that word, actually.
Yeah, a little nuggie. Hey, calm down, and we get a nuggie here for you. So get your pen and paper out. And listen, guys, I do believe we're gonna get into some nuggies here with Joey. We're gonna crush it. So listen, you're doing it. A lot of people are in a place where they don't want to be, frankly. Probably 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 people that I talk to are like, well, how do I just get started? What do I do? And and they're in this weird space of that we've all been in, right? We've all been in like, hey, how, and what do I have to do? And, you and I have learned that it's who that you need to meet to take it to the next level. So I want to know how you first got started. Like, what did you first do to get started in real estate or business in general?
Great question. And I couldn't agree more, right? Network is king. And I always say that, but to kind of go back on my story, Mike, it goes back quite a bit, back to that kind of that 2007, 2008 timeframe where my wife and I decided to build our first home. And we realized how much fun it was for us to kind of go through that design phase and, creating a cool space for us that we would call home. And honestly, that's where it all started. And during those next few years, like you said, it was like, I don't really know how to take that passion that we realized we had and make it a reality into something that we could actually make money with. You know what I mean? And creating those passive income streams, so to speak. And I was super amateur and novice at the time and didn't know anything about it, and continued on with my corporate world and tried to get that next promotion and, kind of make more of that W-2 income and those types of things. And so that's all I knew at the time. And I still remember a book that changed my life. That was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and really put some perspective on things. I know you've read it, and just put some perspective on, wait a minute, what am I doing? And I know I've got this passion in real estate investing, and there's all kinds of different ways to invest into real estate.
Yeah.
And so over that time, I really tried to get in the right mindset to create a side hustle. And sounds easy when you say just create a side hustle, but if you don't have the right mindset and the right habits in place to, make that happen. And what I mean by that, and you probably know a little bit about this, is if you want a side hustle and you've got a busy 60 to 70 hour work week in the corporate world, you're going to have to dedicate some nights. You're going to have to dedicate some Saturdays and some Sundays to start making those things happen. I see you nodding your head like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when you create multiple different streams of income and you learn that, you test things out, and I like when people talk about like going for the fail, going for the no, going for the fail, all of that. Just go all in, and you're going to learn, hard knock education of like, hey, don't loan money to people and expect it to get paid back, if it's to a friend, or just little rules like that you learn over time, and putting in those extra hours, right, to do the thing while you're doing the corporate job. For me, Joey, I actually didn't have a corporate job, so it's hard for me to relate to some people that have like that 9 to 5. I did have the 9 to 5s, but it was just like small entry level type jobs, and I would have 3 of those jobs. You know what I'm saying? So until I got a sales career, when I got into sales, it was like, it was just like you kill what you eat, you eat what you kill, so that was kind of my story. So I'm curious, I would say a majority of people are in more of like what you're saying, the 9 to 5, and they got to do something on the side. How did that work out for you? Like, did you have a mentor, or like who guided you along to do that?
So at the time, I didn't have a mentor in real estate investing, and it was all about self-development. And so I'm a big reader, and I love to read books, and books on mindset always grab a hold of me. Books on habits, books on, of course, investing into real estate and what that looks like and the different ways to do it. So, Mike, I read a lot. And over the years, I just kept reading and reading and reading. And over time, my wife and I just kind of got into that fix and flip space. And again, all during that side hustle time frame, we got into that fix and flip space, and then started to get some of those turning into rentals out in Central Florida, and then rentals out in Texas as well. And even transitioned into out-of-state fix and flips. And so finally we just kind of reached a point where, I think we could get rid of this corporate job. And let me just preface this by saying my corporate job involved me leaving on a Monday, driving to the airport, flying out somewhere, and not coming home till Thursday. So Monday through Thursday, home for years and years and years.
Wow.
It wears on you. And luckily, we created this side hustle to help us transition into doing this full time. I didn't realize I'd be doing it now at the age of 43. But I am super grateful of where we're at right now and the momentum that we're building. But honestly, I'll go back to what I mentioned earlier. If you're thinking about, or what, I already forgot the word you used that was super cool, but it was super unique.
Who?
The gold nuggets.
Oh, nuggies, just like nuggets. Nuggies. Yeah.
That for me is mindset. That's where it started. So that's why years and years and years ago, I started reading books on mindset and what that was all about. I started listening to different speakers and motivational speakers around mindset. And that kind of led me into developing the right habits to create a successful side hustle. And so when I say habits, it's all about what's your morning routine? How do you get into that right mindset
Yeah.
to accomplish what you need to accomplish? If you need to do some things for your side hustle in the morning from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., you better nail down a really, really good habitual morning routine that
Yeah.
allows you to get into that side hustle, so to speak, if that makes sense. So I think mindset and habits are crucial to creating this.
So Joey, I mean, people talk about mindset, and they get into like, affirmations and this kind of stuff. And it's funny because until you try to actually get into some of the stuff like the affirmations or the mindset stuff, especially when I was like a 25-year-old, bro doing sports and stuff, and I was married at 27 and we went to counseling and we went to this counselor who came with this little piece of plastic, and what they would do is they'd run it up your spine, and they said visualize the negative energy leaving your body and going through the window. And I remember sitting there looking at my ex-wife going like, this is what's going to work, really? And so there's a level of I think that people have to understand that it works if you work, like, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. Is like, if you have the right mindset, you're going to put in the work that pre-qualifies you for the universe or God or whoever you want to call it to
Mhm.
give you those blessings that you otherwise wouldn't deserve. Like, people say, well, why does he deserve millions and millions of dollars? Or why does Joey deserve this passive income and be a part of these big deals and taking down all this stuff? Why is Mike able to have a show and interview awesome people who are successful? Because I put in the work, right? I interviewed the guy who only made, $100,000 a year, and then I interviewed the other guy who just had a great story to tell, but he was broke and brand new. And so but now, and I've learned, it's like a video game. When you don't put in this mindset stuff, you don't operate at full capacity. I know for me, I've been on a weight loss journey for, a couple years, Joey, and I was almost 500 pounds. I lost about 120 pounds. I'm still on my way, I'm still on my journey. And there's days where I decide not to go for a walk. And I'm like, oh, I've been crushing it in business. Your mind, this is why mindset people, those of you guys that discount mindset, this is where it actually is effective, right? Where you should know that how important it is. My mind is like confused about like, it's making excuses for not doing the thing I know I'm supposed to do. Right. And then, and then I'm tired because I didn't go on my walk, my 3-mile walk, right? Okay, so then that compounds, the habit stacking, the compound effect. I didn't stack those habits for nothing. So because I didn't go on a walk, I didn't take a cold shower, I didn't eat breakfast at a certain time, like all of the things compound. And I know I'm running on here, but it all starts with that mindset of actually doing the thing you said you were going to do first thing.
I couldn't agree with you more. And you mentioned some really good terms like habit stacking and those types of
Yeah.
things. Plus, your mind starts to focus on the negative too. You know what I mean? Like, once you start the roller coaster of negativity, it just leads you down a path you definitely don't want to be into. But
Maybe I'm
you're
not worth it. Maybe I'm not. Maybe this guy I'm going to interview, like I'm not worthy of interviewing him, or maybe like some of this mindset stuff starts to mess with you. And it's why I love people like Kanye West. These guys are just blessed because he can just come in and be like, I'm a god, like, and he believes it. Like he does that. He's got no mindset issues. Am I right?
yeah. That's sorry, that cracked me up.
It's true. It's true, man.
No, it's very true. I mean, the habit stacking is super important, and first of all, congrats on the 100+ pounds. That's amazing. Keep that up. That's not easy. You know what I mean? I too had a weight loss journey at one point back in the 2013 timeframe.
Oh, yeah.
So I know exactly how hard that is. But habit stacking. What's that?
Was it what did you do? Just cut out flour and sugar, or what? Do some hit cardio?
Honestly, that's where habits came into play. I did weights was a big thing for me. So weights and cardio, a mix of both, but I focused heavily on the lifting weights portion of things. And then cardio is in there, and just I still think 70 to 80% of it is what we eat.
Yep.
And,
I say 100%. I
yeah.
say because when I had a diet coach and he's like, Mike, he's the reason why I went down on this journey and found success. And just, I don't want to go on about this, but it was like, just trust me, don't weigh yourself for 30 days. Don't go to the gym if you're not already going. So you can learn what your body needs and stuff. And that was so powerful. I lost 30 pounds the first month. And then, basically a lot of water weight probably and inflammation and stuff, started feeling better and never looked back. And so I don't eat flour or sugar. I do exercise, but it's more for like my heart health and for like just strength and mobility and feeling good and stuff. And those of you guys that are watching this are like, Mike, okay, but how did Joey become a multimillionaire? How did Joey crush it? Well, listen, guys, we're gonna get into this, but it all starts right here. Is that what you're saying, Joey?
All right here, and you're absolutely right. And it all starts with your habits. And I'm a big morning routine guy. And to break kind of down my morning is first thing I do when I wake up is just get my blood pumping. So exercise is super important. And that's kind of been a staple of my life since 2013. So we're going on 10 years of kind of that morning routine of get up, get your blood pumping, whether that's a walk, whether that's lifting weights, whether that's cardio, whatever it is that you like, that's what it is. So it's nothing you have to do this or you have to do that. It's very simple. Like, what do you enjoy the most? Is it a simple walk? Is it walking outside? Is it walking on the treadmill? Is it a run? Like, whatever it is, get your heart going, get your blood pumping. That's part of my morning routine. Afterwards, I take some time for myself and I do some meditation and some prayer and some journaling. And the great part about that, like, area of my morning routine is it gets me in the right mindset of gratitudes. So if I can think about and write down my gratitudes, it allows me to get out of any of the negativity that may have happened from yesterday. It allows me to get into that. What am I grateful for? It allows me to focus on, am I better than I was last week? Am I better than I was last month? Yeah. And so if you start to really focus on dedicating your time to yourself and doing those things, it really puts you in a positive mindset to kind of move forward from that, right? And so I took a lot of Think and Grow Rich. I took a lot from that book a long time ago. I read that. And you mentioned affirmations. It's if you say things or read things constantly from an affirmation standpoint, you start to believe it. You really do. You start to believe it. Like, I'm going to own 2 apartment complexes by the end of 2023. And you read that every single day. And you talk about the things you're grateful for, and you focus on, am I better than last week? Have I gotten closer to that goal because of what I did yesterday? Yeah. So that's all a part of my morning routine. Trying to, when I get my blood pumping, it really gets my mind going. And so it allows me to get into that meditation, prayer, journaling, writing stuff down, and the affirmation side of things. So that is a kind of an area for me that I think got me into a more successful space in my life. And so there's a couple of books there. I hope you don't mind me throwing out books.
No, love books, man. I love books. Yeah.
The 5 a.m. Club, absolutely a life changer for me as far as morning routine. And then The Miracle Morning was another one. So both of those are fantastic. 5 a.m. Club's a longer book. If people love reading, Miracle Morning is a much shorter book by Hal Elrod that really just pinpoints a lot of the things that helped him to get into that successful state.
Yeah, and he's got a companion guide that goes with it too online that's really good. I printed it out. I got his whole actually I have a binder. It was like 80 pages. So I had the print place printed out, and like going through your self-assessment and stuff was like really eye-opening of like, what were my triggers like around 3:00 in the afternoon. And I'm like, and I've done all my interviews and I'm kind of drained like socially. But I want to go spend time with my dogs. And then like one thing after another, like, why are you making the decisions you're making when you're making them? If they're bad decisions, like really narrowing down why, because then you can actually put things in place to block it. So I was always going and getting like a Frosty, even though I was doing all my morning stuff. I would go get like a Blizzard from the Dairy Queen or something. And because I got to go get in my Suburban, my jacked up Duramax, and my dog, and like there's like this dopamine hit of like going on my ride, getting my my smoothie, talking to the pretty girl at the restaurant. This is all like we're like this is all like the human. What do they call it? The monkey brain, or you need that. So instead, what I did is I put some like alternatives in place, whereas like as soon as I was done, I could go on a walk with my dog, right? And then come back, and then as a reward, kind of for walking my dog, is I would get like a little thing that's only like 100 calories, this little ice cream thing that was like, like a little reward system. And I'm trying not to eat flour and sugar, but replacing that Blizzard, which was like 1,000 calories, like just little wins like that have been super helpful for me. But the more important thing, one of the things you mentioned, like you can do this hit and miss, hit and miss, hit and miss, but the compound effect of Big Mo, when he talks about Big Mo showing up, that to me has been everything when it came to losing weight, because I would be great for a couple of days. I'd go to the gym, I would eat great for a couple of days here and there. But when my diet coach said, don't weigh yourself for 30 days, because you don't know the effects of what you're doing for 30 whole days, and then commit to it for 30 days and just see what happens. And so that like doing that let me see like 30 pounds coming off. I was like, okay, 30 times 12 months, like I started going like extreme with it, but it was okay. Like, and I had to learn like, hey, a little bit of patience, and it goes with everything in business and in everything. Big Mo will show up if you put in the work. And I just love that.
And I love that too. And I think what you're, the word I think that illustrates what you just talked about was consistency.
Yeah.
So it's the consistency of those 30 days that mattered the most. And it's the same with anything, right? I mean, real estate investing and doing your morning routine and doing those types of things. It's important to be consistent, be persistent and consistent, and you'll get the results over time.
But why, Joey? Like, why? Like, I'm happy, but I'm not always. Let's say I'm watching this and I'm like, but isn't it easier to just sleep in?
It's doing what's right and not what's easy, right? So yes, it's easy to sleep in. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not perfect every single day of the week. I mean, there are days I sleep in. I mean, if we had, for example, I was just in Northwest Arkansas looking at, starting our due diligence process on an apartment complex, and we were at it all day long. I mean, early we had interviews with GCs and property managers and, brokers and those types of things. And we were trying to get our underwriting together. I mean, it was all day, all the way until like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Yeah. And I slept in the next day. I did. Yeah. And it's okay to do that from time to time, right?
You bum. What's wrong with you? No, you know what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing that, because we've kind of went on a little while about this, but I think and I think you'd agree with me, is you're doing these things for your future self, right?
Absolutely.
In order to get what Joey's got, you got to do what he did to get what he got. Like, you're not going to just be able to come in and achieve success. Just the last point on the health side is like, I'm a very picky guy when it comes to my mate. Like, picking a woman and getting people, it's notorious. All my buddies are like, how do you land one beautiful woman after another and it doesn't work out or whatever? And it's like, and I'm like, you know what? Well, first of all, confidence, and there's a lot of things like that women love, but also just not settling. And I think it goes with your health, right? And so that's why I'm not dating for a while. I want to like really achieve my own personal best, and then go out and try to, because I think that I'll get more success that way. But don't you agree? It's like in every area of your life, whether it's like relationships, health, wealth, everything. It's about discipline and showing up for your future self.
Get up, show up, have the discipline, be consistent. And I loved what you just said about not settling. Don't settle. If you're not happy with the life that you have right now, You're the only one in charge of going after to get the life that you want. It's truly that simple. And if you could start the education process of self-development and learning about how important habits are and setting yourself right first thing in the morning, the rest, I mean, it's truly up to you. The success is purely on your shoulders.
Man, so much good nuggies right here. Nuggie drops. Nuggie drop. Nuggie drop. Okay, Joey, let's move into some tangibles, because if someone was watching and they weren't like motivated to like change their lives for their future self just now, then we can't help. Honestly, we can't help you guys. Those guys,
Right.
those people, we can't help you. Go watch Tony Robbins. Go watch I don't know, pretty much Tony Robbins. Go watch Tony Robbins.
I'm not Tony Robbins, but yeah.
What did you read his books?
There was one I read a while back, and I know you put me on the spot. I'm blanking out on the name.
That's okay.
The Giant Within.
Yeah, Awaken the Giant Within. Yeah, that was probably the book that I was like, okay, there's something bigger deep inside me. There's a bit greater purpose for me on this earth that is not just sitting here. I think he said he was like 38 pounds overweight or something, which I was like, okay, bro, like go on a walk, you know. I was like, you know. Anyways, so let's get into some of the money stuff, okay? Because I know there's people that tuned in based on the title of the video, that passive income. So let's talk about that, and then we'll move into what you're most fired up about. So what are some of the extra passive income streams that you think you want to share, like that's been successful for you?
Yeah, so I'll share one of the things that I really wanted to do, because I know my time leading into the side hustle and those types of things was finding an avenue to invest my money into with people that I trusted, and an avenue that didn't require hundreds of thousands of dollars, if that makes sense. So a few years ago, my wife, Meredith, and my business partner, Nick Elder, we decided to create Trinity Peak Partners. And my vision around Trinity Peak Partners was to help those investors get into the real estate investing game, whether it was, hey, I've got 10,000 to invest or 25,000 to invest. And Joey, I've known you for 17 years or the last 10 years. And, you know, we've got a good relationship, and I see what you're doing, and I really want to get into the game. I just don't have that much money. My vision was that first bucket of 10 to 25,000. How can I help others? So my goal was to help other people get into the real estate investing game, start creating some of that passive income on the side while they still had their 9 to 5. And I did all the work. So that was kind of our first bucket. And we started doing a lot of these smaller fix and flips in markets where the buy-in was super, super low. So for example, in Western Pennsylvania and Eastern Ohio, you can go all in on a fix and flip, literally cash purchase and rehab, 125 grand. I mean, 100 to 125 grand for an all-in fix and flip is phenomenal. And you still have fantastic ROI on something like that. So I'm helping those investors get in on the game on smaller scale fix and flips. Our second bucket at Trinity Peak Partners was to help those investors. All right, I've got 50 to 75K, maybe 100K. And we started doing fix and flips in Colorado and some of those other higher end fix and flips that allowed people to invest in. And another great thing about these two, buckets of investing is the hold time isn't that long. So if they didn't want to, lock in their money for 3 to 5 years, this is another way for them to test it out. Did it work? It's another way to build trust with myself and my team at Trinity Peak Partners on some of these deals. And so that's what we've been doing on a smaller scale to help people get into the game. So that was a big vision of ours, was how can we help others that just don't quite know how to get started, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So creating the passive income. So like, let's say I wanted to create some passive income and I'm just getting started. Like, do I have to be an accredited investor? Do I have to have, like if I have an extra grand laying around, can I just be like Trinity Peak Partners? And then how much, and how much would I expect back? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so this isn't necessarily a fund. So if you had just like 1,000, I mean, that'd be a little bit difficult for us to
Yeah.
involve you on a fix and flip, right? But if you had that 10 to 25K and you wanted to get in on it, there's multiple ways to invest on some of these smaller deals. One, we call it private money investing, and
Yeah.
so it's typical like the hard money, private money lending that you see out there
Mhm.
nowadays. Is that Trinity Peak Partners will pay a private money investor interest, monthly interest, and they can start developing passive income through monthly
Yeah.
interest payments. And we promise to give their full investment back, which is a small investment, 10 to 25.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we promise to give their full investment back plus the interest that they made during the time that we had their money for that fix and flip. That's one way of investing on the small side. The second way is to be an equity partner. So
Yeah.
if you wanted to come in and be an equity partner on the deal
Yeah.
and you had 25K, then you don't necessarily get those interest payments during the months, but at the end, at the exit of the project, you get to take part in that equity split as well. So hopefully
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So let's back it up just for a minute. A couple of things. Someone who's watching, this, and we're going to give the benefit of why you would do this. But think about it for a second. Like, first of all, your situation. Whoever's watching, do you have 10,000 in the bank? If you don't, that's step one. Go produce enough value to the marketplace that you can earn $10,000 or $20,000 that you don't have to use for your own personal expenses. Now let's get into why that is so important. Like, obviously there's a lot of other reasons, but why for what you're doing is this so important? If I give you this money, first of all, when can I expect, or what kind of percentages do you pay? And I know you can be rough because it changes a little bit, but like, what are the rough amounts that I would earn monthly, let's say?
Yeah, so we're on those private money investors, we're paying 12%, which if you look at your 401k, you look at your
Yeah.
IRAs, you look at CDs nowadays,
Yeah.
12% is quite a bit higher than what you're getting in some of those avenues.
So let's say I put in 10,000. How much am I getting per month? 120 bucks?
You want to
Let's
make
say
me
so.
get out my
Yeah.
calculator now, Mighty Mike?
No. Let's just say 120. Let's say you're making 120 bucks. And imagine you just keep doing this, right? And then I'm loaning this money, and then I get it back, and then there's a certain amount of points. Like, I just want people to see the tangible difference. Because listen, Joey, I know you're dealing with millions of dollars, and you got lots of different things that are going on. But for a lot of the people who are watching, we're talking about it before the show, about 80 or 90% of the people, they're struggling just to save that first 10 grand. And I'm doing everything I can with my show and my fund and things to try to help people get to a place where they can invest with you, where they could throw 25 or 50 grand at you, and you have no problem paying them that 12% every month. And
Mm-hmm.
then on top of that, they get their money back. I think a lot of people that don't do this, they think, I'm giving you the 10 grand and somehow you're going to keep it forever, and I'm just going to get like a little bit of, you know what I mean? Like, no, this
Yeah,
is still your money, and it's just building this interest. You're getting interest only payments, then you get a payout at the end. And if I gave you 100 grand, like, people, I just don't think people truly realize you don't have to be like 100 millionaire to really live a good life. You could have, $200,000 at 12% interest. I mean, you're making $2,000 a month,
exactly,
at least.
exactly. I
At
mean,
least.
you're right on with the saving that first 10, saving that first 25, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier with what are my habits on how am I frugal? Am I being frugal enough to save that first 10 to 25,000? I mean, again, throwing out another book, Set for Life. Set for Life is a great book talking about saving that first 10.
Really, I
Actually,
haven't. I'm gonna look that one up. That sounds like a good one.
yeah, Set for Life was a great one, and it's that's what it's all about, is having that first initial 10 or 25. And the great thing about these smaller fix and flips is they take typically 3 to 5 months
Mhm.
tops. So I will throw this in there just as a disclaimer. There's always risk in investing into real estate, right? So something could go wrong with the fix and flip and those types of things. And, you have to prepare for those types of things and plan. So there's always risk involved. But some of these smaller projects are
Yeah.
fantastic starters for
Yeah.
small investors to get into the game.
So let's talk about that for a minute. So what are the, so let's say I were to invest in a deal, a fix and flip, put 10, 20 grand in. Just so you guys know too, there's a certain level of investor that you want to work with, you know, the accredited investors, or if you do have a limited CF fund or something like that, you can take less, but you don't want to spend your last 10 grand on an investment. You know that you need to have a safety net and things like that, right? There's nothing worse, right, Joey, is having an investor who gives you their last 10 grand and you know it because they call you every month. I didn't get that payment. You know, when is the
Yeah,
fund selling? When is the property selling? You know, it's like,
exactly.
okay, maybe we shouldn't have, maybe you shouldn't invest anymore. And it's a scarcity mindset. So maybe just touch on that. Like, what are, like, in some situations, what is the worst case scenario?
Yeah, so for me, I'm glad you brought that up because I do have these conversations prior to someone investing the very first time, even on these smaller deals. Those questions are around like their finances. Do they have a financial runway if they were to give me this 25,000 to invest into a fix and flip? And again, my goal is to help them. So I want to take their 25 and make some money for them and
Yeah.
them continue to work their 9 to 5. But the conversations that I have are around, do you have something else? Do you have something in place, a small savings account, an emergency fund, a rainy day fund, whatever you want to call it, in place?
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to take your only 25 and put you in a bad spot. So I am glad you brought that up because that's a conversation that I have with every
Yeah.
small or first time investor that wants to start on these types of deals. So without a doubt, the conversation needs to be had, and they need to have some type of rainy day fund other than what they're putting into a fix and flip.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you going into that because I know that's one of kind of the dark sides of investing is like, you know, you have to understand that it is risk, but you know, without risk, you get no reward. You have to put your, I mean, if you don't want any risk, go put your money in a bank account getting a 0.0002% interest and have it inflation eat it up and just, I mean, that's really, I know it's safer because your dollar amount doesn't go down, but at all. But what happens is your money's worth less if your money is not becoming duplicating itself, it's becoming worth less as the government prints more of it. It's just inflation. It's the way things work. So we're about to wrap up here, but I want to know what are you working on right now that you're most fired up about?
So great question. I have a lot to be fired up about and grateful for. So our third bucket in Trinity Peak Partners is that multifamily space. And those are for investors that for, 50,000 minimum, but we prefer like those $100,000 investors. I'm super excited that we're under contract on an apartment complex in Northwest Arkansas. It is a market that is emerging. It's blowing up out there. It's a fantastic place to be in right now. And we have started our due diligence process on that apartment complex out there. We have a couple more off-market deals lined up as well in that same area. So I am stoked about the momentum that we've built at Trinity Peak Partners, but I'm even more excited about the investors that we're helping along the way because they have opportunities to invest in different types of fix and flips as well as multifamily. And I love to talk about, you mentioned it earlier, what that $100,000 can do if you put it to work in multifamily and what that looks like for the investor 3 years from now based on this project that we're working on in Northwest Arkansas. So super excited to venture into this journey with Meredith, my wife, our business partner, Nick Elder, and we're doing our best to get through the due diligence and get to closing and move on to the next one. But I am excited about this momentum that we're building, and Northwest Arkansas is a super fun place to be too.
So a couple of things. First one, Northwest Arkansas is terrible. Guys, don't think about investing there. Don't don't stay out of there. There's a bunch of rednecks. You don't want to go there. It's going to be terrible. No one's going to pay their rent. Just me and let me and Joey take care of all the bad spots over there. Yeah, it's a great market. Yeah, we actually didn't even know that I didn't know that you guys had one under contract. We're actually working on an LOI for a couple of deals. Yeah, it's a great market, and I guess now everybody knows. So, but
Yep.
yeah, you guys go out there and crush it. Listen, Joey, the other thing that I want to mention is multifamily. I feel like if you follow some of these guys along their paths, that have done fix and flip, that have done wholesale, that have done syndication, at some point they end up doing syndications, and at some point they end up doing a fund, because there's multiple financial avenues for being able to collect other people's money, right, and helping them invest. But there's just a few examples that I really love that you brought up in the beginning of the show, was Rich Dad Poor Dad. Robert Kiyosaki, if you actually follow him, he's not a real estate guy. His book wasn't even about real estate, but then he teamed up with Ken McElroy. And if you follow Ken on YouTube,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, Ken, being the real estate guy and just having a mind for real estate and things like that. I'm not taking away from Robert either. I love Robert; he's a great guy, and great content. Obviously, just a legend. Actually, he's a legend. But
Yep.
but Ken, he tells a story about when Ken would call him, and I love this because Ken would call Robert and go, hey, I got another one, and Robert would go, how much you need? He's like, 2 million. Okay, you got it. Boom, hang up the phone. Done. He said their calls were always like 30 seconds long because he trusted Ken to go find the deals, to make sure they were good deals, and he made him so much money that it was like, don't even ask me. Just ask me, do I have 2 million to invest in this, or 2 million to invest, or 10 million or 20 million? Because ultimately you go out and you find deals, you create value in the marketplace by finding the deals, get them under contract, and then offering them to people like me, people like other people who have the funds to be able to invest. And I think a lot of people, another mindset thing is, a lot of people think that it's hard to get involved. Like like you can't get involved. No, Joey wants me to get involved, and we're going to everyone makes money together. This is the beautiful thing about real estate. Whereas like if you go and you like pay for somebody's coaching program, let's say, the only person making money is the coach.
Yep.
You might take what they've taught you and go use it and make money, fine, but you're not making money together. The coach is the only one that made money. And there's so many industries where that's the case. But in real estate, if I invest my money with you, I make money. You make money. Everyone makes money, and everyone is happy with the depreciation, the tax depreciation, the appreciation of the property, the equity pay down, where the equities, the amount of equity we have in the deal just keeps growing. And when we sell an asset, man, we're popping some bubbly. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, obviously there's cash flow from,
Yeah.
all the in between, but the exit of some of these projects like multifamily definitely
Yeah.
popping some bubbly for sure.
My gosh, yeah, you're coming with millions, I like, so yeah, and the crazy part about it is too, that I want people to understand is the relationships. It's the who, not how. There's a book called Who Not How that I just love. And it talks about going out and finding the who. Like one of the ways that I got involved in multifamily, Joey, I don't know if you know this, but I started doing underwriting for someone who was doing lots of deals, and they having deals sent to them every day. I started doing underwriting, and I learned what makes a good deal. Now, if you can go out and bring a deal to the table, you can go out and find funding to the table, and then you can capital raise. I mean, I can't think of a job, even a doctor, a lawyer, a surgeon, an embassy, liaison or whatever. I can't think of a single job that's going to pay you more than that.
Right.
Can you?
No, I mean, honestly, investing in especially the multifamily space, it's phenomenal and it's fun. And you're right, we're giving people the opportunity to be a partner in owning an apartment complex, which is pretty cool to say,
It is
right?
cool.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just super fun. I can't tell you how much fun that journey can be for somebody.
And the government rewards you very abundantly. They look at it with cost segregations and things like that. They basically go, nah, you don't have to pay us taxes. You're giving housing to all these people. And if you have a cash flow businesses like I do, software companies, marketing companies, you need that depreciation. Sometimes if you only do real estate, then you use all your depreciation, you don't pay any taxes, but you're really missing out because there's a lot of you can actually leverage the cash flow from your other businesses. There's so many things, the life insurance stuff, there's so many ways financial stuff. Just get into finance, whatever it is you do, understand money and how to use it. And man, you can become very, very wealthy. Joey, what is your parting piece of advice for that person who's thinking about getting started? Let's say they conquered their mindset. They're like, I'm getting started today. What do they do?
I mean, honestly, that's half the battle is getting to that point and conquering the mindset, knowing that you can do it. And then it's pulling the trigger. I tell a lot of people there's 95% of the population that do know about it, right? About investing in real estate, but don't pull the trigger. So find that person that you trust that's already doing it and get into the game and don't hesitate, because eventually time will go by and you're going to say, I wish I'd have started that 20 years ago. Don't be that person that says, I wish I'd have started that 20 years ago, because I'm one of them. I wish I would have started this at 25, 26, 27 years old when I realized I had a passion for it, but chose the traditional 9-to-5 route. So that would be my advice, is to pull the trigger, take action, and find somebody that you trust.
That's so good. So good. Yeah. Well, you partner with good people, Nick Elder, and your wife. Sounds like you got a good support system, and that's half the battle, is like getting through the mindset, and then surround yourself with good people. I mean, you've been hanging out with Joey and Mighty Mike, and you watch some more episodes after this, 3 or 4 more people who are all just crushing it, doing what they can to make their lives better, and they have a certain way. We don't spend our time talking about people. We don't spend our time talking, unless it's for a good example, right? Or about events too much, right? Like, hey, you're gonna go here so we can go together, right? We don't gossip a whole lot. We talk about ideas for how we can like live a better life and how to actually level up, right? Like if this was a video game, how do you level up? The way you level up is doing these basic principles, right? That we talked about, whether it's mindset, getting in the right rooms with people, getting a mentor. You didn't call it a mentor, but that's what you're saying. Find someone you trust and align yourself with them and try to learn from them so you can take things to the next level. I love it. We're out of time, but listen, Joey, how can everybody keep up with what you got going on?
Yeah, so they can follow me on LinkedIn, Joey Schneider. We also have a Trinity Peak Partners page on LinkedIn. Super active on Instagram as well. And of course, they can check out our website at trinitypeakpartners.com. But don't hesitate to reach out to me via LinkedIn. And, I answer direct messages immediately and just connect. Let's grow together.
Yes, I can attest to that. Joey, we connected. I think I connected with Nick first, and then you saw my interview with Nick, and then we connected with you. LinkedIn is like one of the best platforms for being able to search for people and connect with new people.
Couldn't agree more.
So powerful. Yeah. And you can take it off of there, go to other platforms, because now you know what they do for a living. That's a little ninja tactic right there, man. A little marketing, guerrilla marketing tactic there. But
absolutely.
Thanks so much, Joey. I mean, I appreciate you and look forward to doing business with you and figuring out how we can help best help each other and go out and crush it.
No, couldn't agree more. And again, thank you for having me on. It's an honor and a privilege just to be on your show, and you're crushing it with your podcast. And so I just appreciate, being a part of it. So humbled.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you guys. Go out there, take some mighty action, crush it. We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you guys. See ya. Thanks, Joey.
Thank you.
For more great content like this and your chance to win cash prizes each week live online, visit www.mightymikereed.com. That's www.mightymikereed.com. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite audio platform. Until next time, take care and live mighty.